Now to politics and a mixed week for President Obama. On the positive side, he scored two big victories, Judge Sonia Sotomayor's confirmation as the next Supreme Court justice and the extension of the popular Cash for Clunkers program. But two new polls show his approval ratings have dropped to a new low. David Gregory is a moderator of Meet the Press. David, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Lester.
Let me ask you about the polls. Can you point to one thing, a couple of things that may be hurting him right now?
Well, this is really all about health care. The White House will dispute some of the numbers that you see in some of those polls. They think that things have evened out a little bit over a past few bumpy weeks for the president. But again, all about health care. This is not a pretty process. The deadline that the president set slipped. There's still a lot of disagreement about where they go for the fall to try to resolve the differences over health care. And the president's involved in that, trying to chart the course for what he wants, but still letting Congress do its work. Again, presidents get evaluated based on accomplishment. When they start getting into lawmaking, it's not a very pretty process.
Right, but he was so focused and locked in on health care. Then came the Gates controversy. Then came questions over whether there would really be a middle-class tax cut or maybe a tax hike. How much of a distraction were those?
Well, I think those are distractions, and there's the larger overhang of the economy and the deficit and the question about whether the country can afford health care reform on such a massive scale. Look to hear from the president and his top aides over the next several weeks, consumer protection. They've tested this message. They want to go out there and say to the American people, if you've got health insurance, you're not going to lose ground. You're not going to suffer a decreasing quality of care because of health care reform. That's the kind of reassurance campaign he's got to be on.
You know, it's amazing. Congress has dragged its feet on so many issues, but Cash for Clunkers, they were quick to refund that, a couple $2 billion. Considered a big win for the president as well. What does that say about future stimulus programs, though?
Well, I think what's going to be evaluated is what actually works. This is something that hit consumers right where they drive, and they could feel it. It also shows how much pent-up demand there is on the part of consumers to go out and buy things, but only if the conditions are right, because I think consumers are so careful about spending money rather than saving money. So this was an instance where if you can show for sure that there's a real impact because of a stimulus program, Congress will be on board. Still a lot of questions about where the immediate benefit is from some of the other aspects of the stimulus plan.
What have you got this weekend on Meet the Press, David?
We're going to have more on the backstory of the release of the prisoners, of the journalists from North Korea. We have the National Security Advisor talking about that and the way forward with North Korea. That's General James Jones. Also, the economy, the jobless numbers coming out today. Two big city mayors, Michael Bloomberg of New York and Newark's Mayor Cory Booker.
Terrific. We'll see you on Sunday. David, thanks.
Okay.